way to start this, we should do you.
Yeah, I know. I'll do an intro.
No,
Let's just
before you do the intro.
Okay.
Just for a warm up. You sing the hi hat. I sing the kick.
Okay.
You're the snare and you're the toms. Right?
Okay. Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Go. All right, we're good. That was pretty lame.
That was awful.
That's stupid.
You were the kick?
Did you check to make sure I was in the shot?
Yeah, you're in the shot. I checked.
Everybody,
Okay, so
follow me on Instagram.
This is not
hold
going
on. Loki, you do
gonna
need
be here all
500 more
night.
followers
I
to
just
hit
need
10K.
He needs
500.
500 followers.
I just need 500. Don't put this in there.
at Sebastian.
Welcome to the Audiolink podcast. I'm here. Tommy is actually not here. He's in Mexico on vacation.
How dare
Slacker. Anyway,
Shout out Mexico.
It's the best.
I'm here with Ish, Sebastian, and Lucas, and we're going to talk.
And talk. And talk.
And cue the
And
talking.
talk.
So Sebastian and Ish started a company called Percs about 4 years ago
2020.
in 2020.
Yep. The
It
peak
birthed out of
everything.
COVID and a massive amount of boredom.
Pure
Because
boredom.
from staying at home.
I had
There
no-
was nothing.
we had
Hey
no
guys,
cool
remember,
about it.
speaking of that, remember 2 weeks to slow the spread? Remember that?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know what that is.
2 weeks to...
It was like stay inside
It was
for 2
Oh,
weeks.
everyone
yeah, yeah, yeah.
stay
Oh,
inside
stay inside
for
for
2
Brandon
weeks.
says, let's not get political.
No.
Gets
Everyone,
political.
and then it turned into like...
Where's my mask?
Yeah.
Okay, keep
I
moving.
did say not to get political because, that's true. He got me there. No, for real though. It's funny how like 2 weeks turned into 18 months. It was pretty, we all knew that.
But it also birthed our company.
It did birth our company. That's true.
It was not out of boredom.
So we started Percs. We came up with this idea. Can't talk. You want to record drum samples, and we did that in November of 2020,
yes, we did.
and that was so much fun. And that was here actually in this room.
We couldn't have done it without you, Brandon.
That's true. He
That's
could not
true.
have done it.
Shout out to
I was
Brandon.
the only guy they knew with the studio. So that's
Yeah.
BE Productions.
And today, what happened today?
what. Oh yeah. We just finished
Tracking
recording.
a new sample pack.
Yep.
That's
So
cool.
I feel
I
like
couldn't-
I'm on like a late night show.
yeah,
I know.
It's like.
It kind of does feel like that.
Do you want to make the lights a little neonish?
No, this is cool. I
Okay.
like this.
I like
It's a
it.
nice little vibe.
It feels good.
But yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yes.
There's a lot of mileage between 2020 and now. I feel like
Whole 5
for
years.
everyone,
4.
there's a big black mark or from 2019, black space,
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah.
Like
Honestly.
it's kind of happened.
From 2020 to 2022 is like blank.
Yeah. So Ish, you've played for everyone. Who
Not
have you played
everyone.
For? Okay, for most
Give
people.
us the long list.
Yeah, give us the.
Give us,
You have
list?
okay, no,
give
for
us
real.
a very
not
Give us your top
extensive,
5.
Ish,
arrogant
you have 30
list.
seconds. 30 seconds to list everyone you've played for, and I
because
think
you need
Not
a whole 30 seconds.
That's a lot, though.
You
No,
need
no,
a
no.
lot of time.
Give him
The
10.
the only one that's most important is my father-in-law, of course, family.
Oh,
Shout
wow.
out.
Koalo Zamorano.
Koalo Zamorano.
Is it Zan or San?
Sam.
Zamorano. Yeah.
This is funny how the two non-Latino people
I
are
know.
trying to figure out how to say that word.
Somos gringos.
Yeah.
And we're here quiet.
I know.
It's like,
Yeah.
It's called humility.
Humility.
It's okay. It's true. It is humility, I suppose.
I'm not
Anyway.
gonna give a list.
Okay.
It
You
seems
play for a
arrogant.
lot of people.
He has played for. You have a great reputation.
I'll give his
appreciate
list. Gateway Worship, Jeremy Riddle.
Hold on. Gateway Worship Espanol,
Carey,
because that's a
and-
different
okay,
thing.
Gateway Worship Espanol.
It's true.
Yes.
Cody, Carey, Jeremy,
Riddle.
Rita. Who else
Springer.
am I missing? I don't know.
Christine.
There's a lot. but
Christine. Christine's a big one.
Everybody.
Yeah.
It was
Anyway,
fun.
been a cool journey, hey?
It's been fun.
I remember the first time I saw you play. It was at Gateway Conference 2017 or 18.
I was a baby.
I think it was
I
17.
had long hair.
You did have long
Not much
hair,
has changed.
but I was literally. I used to work at Gateway, and I was in the back.
You worked at Gateway?
Yeah, bro. It's the whole.
Yeah, he did editing.
It's a
for the
deep, dark-
sermons.
It's in my the history of my career. It's like a really
I didn't know you worked
weird
for Gateway.
spot. It's like a weird, kind of gray area.
Like on staff or?
Yeah, I was a part-time employee technically.
That's so crazy. We were there
Yeah.
at the same time.
I was there like right when Gateway would do all these classes, and I was in charge of like recording and editing
Mm.
all of these like weekly classes they have in all their classrooms. classes, and it was like a lot of classes every week. And so I would like get these CDs and like rip the CD and put
CDs.
rip the CDs,
Damn.
bro, because they would record the CDs.
2017.
Yeah, it was like 2015.
I mean, it's almost
yeah.
10 years ago.
But I did that job, and I just put it in Pro Tools and then like, bounce a master copy. Like, and anyway, it was horrible.
Cool.
Long time ago, but I did do that. And one time, I think it was 2017, I walk out during Gateway Conference. Me and Jared Yankis were doing that job together for the conference, and I walked out during your worship set, like during the worship of one of the nights. And I was like, "Dang, this drummer's sick."
Oh,
you
thanks.
like it felt so good, like Pocket, just the classic-ish thing.
Thanks. Appreciate
And
it. That was a fun time. Good conference. I actually remember that conference specifically.
I remember he's played. He's like whip his hair around.
There was a lot of I had a lot of neck pain.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, but it was really fun to watch you, and then like get to know you, and as we've worked together a lot, it's
That's
been
crazy.
really fun.
Small world.
Yeah, and the first time I met you,
You don't remember.
2015. No, it was 2015 because I
You don't
worked at
remember.
this community college down here,
Actually, you
and
know what?
we did
so
David
right.
Porcade's
You're so
overdubs.
right. I actually was
He got
looking.
you. He remembered.
I actually did because I was looking through my
a lot of
Instagram the
part-time
other
jobs,
day.
by the way. Eh?
No, I was looking through somebody's
know, bro.
Instagram or somebody's tagged photos,
The hustle.
and we were working on a.
I don't know what's happening.
I don't.
It's okay.
One part-time job, he met you. Another part-time job, he met you.
A lot of
That's
part-time
true.
jobs.
It's
All
okay
that to say, you have a journey in life, and you will eventually get there.
for sure.
Look at that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah,
Clip that.
we were clip that. We were working on David Porcade's album,
Hmm.
and he for sure needed overdubs.
Yep.
Which
I
is
remember
awesome too.
because
Yeah.
Gabe.
Is awesome.
I remember because Gabe was like super
Yeah,
hype about his red DI, the Ready.
Yeah, the
big
red.
DI.
Yeah, we were
Those
kids.
are expensive.
The tubed one,
Yep.
it's like $700.
They sound good.
They do
Yeah,
sound
They're
great.
huge.
They're great.
They're
It's like a
huge.
pedal board.
But
It's
we,
this massive thing.
yeah, I remember we went over to that community college, and you helped David out. It was so kind of you.
Well, David never showed up. It was you,
it was just me, Oscar,
Gabe, Julian,
Yeah, it was
Garrett
me and my
was
cousins,
there.
Yeah, and Garrett.
and David was like calling, "Hey, so how's it going? Good. It's going
Yeah.
great, bro.
Did
Thanks."
you show up with your
Like, and he texted me, "Thanks so much for helping."
Bye.
Did you
Well,
show
like,
up with all the
That's
photos
also
and
getting
everything?
clipped out.
No, this it was really cool because this community college had an SSL AWS console,
Oh.
and so we could. And
How?
I worked there.
Community
I
college?
kind of like helped teach the Pro Tools classes and stuff. Yeah, Cedar Valley down the road. in
Oh,
Lancaster.
I see what
It
you're
was
saying.
not down the road. That
It's
was
in
a
Lancaster. It is technically down the road. Yes,
Lancaster.
Maybe from
so
Where's that?
far.
35 South.
It felt
to
really
20.
far.
He lives in
Maybe.
Mansfield and he thinks that he lives close to everybody.
No,
So-
that's true.
That was
That makes
very
sense.
far.
It makes sense that he's saying that.
very far. I was like, where are we?
But y'all are
going?
you were coming from Carrollton. At
Yeah,
that
we were
point.
coming from Carrollton. It was
But-
far.
It's funny you said it's far because like you used to get up so early to go to the 6 a.m. prayer sets.
Yes, we did
From
Anyway.
Carrollton.
from Carrollton.
So it's from
Oh
that
my
point,
gosh.
Sebas, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, which part do you want? Do you want
Well,
like my
From
whole
just-
upper room story or like my whole testimony?
So when were you born?
Born in 1995.
Oh, baby. Okay.
We're going
I'll
all the
tell
way
skip-
back.
Bring us back.
I'm gonna like
Way back.
skip up until upper room. I was playing at a church in Carrollton called Covenant Church.
Mhm.
Pastor Mike Hayes was mentored by Daniel Lopez D'Lo.
D-Lo.
Um,
He actually listens to this podcast. He texts me.
love
And I don't
D'Lo.
know if I responded, but I love you, D-Lo.
Legend.
D'Lo is amazing. I've met a lot of drummers, and most of the drummers that I've met in DFW, they all say, "Yeah, man, I had a conversation, or I had a coffee,
Mm-hmm.
or I had a lunch with D'Lo, or D'Lo gave me lessons, or he messaged me and encouraged me." And D'Lo has had an impact on so many people that I don't know, and it's so
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
He's
He's a gem,
gold.
for sure.
So I was there for a long time. I was there from like 2010 to like 2018. 2010 to like 2018, and then I transitioned out. Did a lot of things at Covenant. I played aux drums there, and that's like a whole like if you play drums, learn aux drums because it's like a whole different world. You
Yep.
learn how to be
Yep.
a completely better drummer or different drummer. I wouldn't say better. Better.
You mainly learn how to like use tambourines in
Yeah,
time.
you learn how to use tambourines. You learn how to think like a producer, and that's something he always
Dude, and
about.
it's hard to play aux drums well.
Oh, it's so
Like,
hard. It's so hard to
It honestly is.
It's very humbling.
Yeah.
You have to like get out of the way and just be a shaker and a tambourine
No,
Yeah.
for real.
for like 90% of the song, and maybe like something cool will come up. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was a really cool experience. And from there, we heard about this little gathering that was happening at this place called an Upper Room. Todd White was speaking, and me and my cousins went, and we had done worship a lot, pretty much like for like 5, 6, 7 years, up until that point, together. So we show up to this place called the Upper Room, and it was beautiful. We felt God's presence.
Yeah.
It was not cool looking. There was green carpet. I think I remember there was like a small little jazz kit, and the drummer like packed up right after worship, and there was painters and dancers, and it was just different. We were not used
Flags.
to that.
Lots of flags.
Yeah, lots of
That's from day one.
there wasn't flags, but it was different. Like,
like-
it was not your
Yeah.
typical.
It's like 2012 or 20.
This was like 2012-ish. Yeah. It was not your
Dang.
typical church in Dallas.
Yeah.
It
That's
was
crazy.
like,
So you were literally like 17, 18 years old.
oh yeah, I was in high school.
Yeah.
Like, did not have a driver's license.
Mm.
Our friends were taking us to this place
That's
called the Upper
crazy.
Room.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And
Wasn't it? It used to be like
above a vet
above.
clinic. Yeah.
Literally an upper floor
I've
of
been-
a
yeah, I
veterinary
went.
clinic
The
building.
reason it's
Yeah.
called the Upper Room is because it was literally an upper room above a vet clinic. You would have to take these very steep steps.
has nothing to do with the acts or the the disciples waiting in the upper room for Jesus.
I mean,
after-
maybe.
Nothing to do with that.
Nothing to
I
do
don't
with
want to
that.
say on record like it doesn't, but from what I understand, it has to do with it literally being the upper room. It was an upper room. You
Yeah.
could see downtown Dallas. And we showed up to this place,
Yeah.
and it was
crazy.
beautiful, and we felt God's presence.
I love that.
And my cousin Julian is very like prophetic, and he sees vision like past what we can see, and
Mm.
he's like, guys, I think there's something here for us. And we were all like, okay.
Dang, Julian has the gift, huh?
Oh,
like
Julian
since-
he's
does that.
tapped in.
He's super
He-
pastoral.
very pastoral, very visionary. I mean, he told Oscar, he's like, bro, you need to get a computer,
Mm.
and you
Wow.
need to
Whoa.
Wow.
like learn how to. And I
I didn't
mean,
know that.
Yeah.
Oscar's
I
like
didn't know that either.
producing music for a living now.
Yeah.
and
With his computer.
yeah. Julian,
With his
yeah, with his
That
computer.
same one.
Not the
No,
same
no,
one, but
no.
it's a computer.
Yeah.
Total of 2
Um,
tracks.
But yeah, we showed up and it was beautiful. And he's like, dude, I feel like there's something here for us. And we just started showing up. We did the residency, and we started a little Friday night set. I was not a part of it in the very beginning, but they started doing a Friday night set. My cousin again invited me into it, and he's like, dude, you just need to show up.
Wasn't it? It was instrumental at first.
It was it was like instrumental. You would show up, and like there was like, obviously Oscar's playing piano, I'm playing drums, Julian's on guitar, and Joel, Alyssa, Abby, and Iola,
Mm.
they would all show up. My friend Johnny would show up. Marcel would come. Dustin would come. We would all just show up and worship, and it was like
It was at like 10 p.m.
it was from 10 to 12. We chose a
That's
time.
crazy.
We picked a time where it was like, what would be a time that nobody would show up, and
Yeah.
it was Friday from 10 to 12.
Mhm.
And it started just a small little gathering, and everyone, it was kind of like a free for all. Like
Yeah.
it was like we would start playing music, and then Abby would be like, oh, I have this thing that I could sing. I hear something. And then Joel would be like, oh, I hear something else. And then they would tag team it. And then Eniola would come up, and then Alyssa would also. And then it just became this thing, and we would feel God's presence.
Yeah.
And we didn't really know what was going on. All we knew is that it was just beautiful what was going on in the room. And
It's so
it
cool.
and then it went from like just us gathering to a few months later, this room is full with like 350 to 400 young adults.
Wow.
And we have no idea like what's going on,
Yeah.
why. We just know that we were meeting in this little room, and it was a bunch of young people who were hungry for God.
It's so cool, man.
And yeah.
I love listening to you tell this story.
I
and
know.
when you and your cousins get together and talk about it, like
Yeah.
I've heard it probably 5 or 6 times. I've known you for a while,
Mm.
and every time there's like a new detail. It's like
Yeah.
when you're telling like people,
like
the story of
telling the story of
yeah,
Jesus.
or like when How You Met Your Wife or whatever.
Yeah.
There's always like new details
When
that
I
pop
Met Your
up.
Mother.
Yeah, exactly. How I Met Your Mother. Right?
Or How I Met Your Mother.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good movie. I've never seen it.
No,
It
that's a
just reminded
show.
me of
It's
the
good.
title.
But no, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And honestly, like my life's been drastically changed by the Upper Room and just by the posture of worship, by like how it's not about us. Just that thought, it's not about us.
Mhm.
It's like it brings such a purity
Yeah.
because you remove self, and it's so powerful. Anyway,
Yeah.
so this is Lucas.
Lucas
Pan
Luca-
de queso.
Mole.
He's Silva. I don't know. You're in my phone as Lucas Mole. You have 2 last names though.
It's only one last name.
Okay, Silva.
They say Mole in Brazil.
Uh-huh.
They say Silva in America. I don't know. Maybe I'm having a little moment.
Your wife's
Figure it
Instagram.
out.
What's
Right
your
now.
identity?
Your wife's Instagram is
What do you
Amanda
identify
Mole
as?
Silva.
My passport says Mole Silva.
Okay.
They
So
say both.
but Lucas,
Maybe that's my last name.
when did you? You're obviously you're from Brazil.
From Brazil,
You
born and raised
Born and raised in what part?
in Salvador, Bahia. So that's
Mm.
like north Brazil, northeast on the coast.
And you like to wear shorts?
I love to wear shorts. I feel like
Just kidding.
maybe I'm the only one. No, Simmons likes to wear shorts
I like
too.
to
Yeah,
wear
you wear
shorts.
shorts.
I wear shorts, but recently it's been cold.
That's true. It's also
Yeah,
winter.
it's like
Winter time.
60s.
Well,
It's
At the
February.
time of this recording,
today
it's
is
February.
Today it feels like
Yeah.
an armpit outside, and
Alright.
it's just
It's a little
allergies.
humid.
Yeah.
It's a good day for
Yeah.
shorts.
Yeah.
I should have worn shorts.
No, it's in what? So we met in like you came to CFNI.
Steve and I in
what-
2018
Was it 2018?
and 19,
I thought it was like 2017.
18.
You would know it was you. So
Yeah. And I think I met you. I can't really. I remember meeting you. I think it was the Leland recording
Oh,
at CFNI.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
that record
crazy.
that went nuts.
yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah, better
Waymaker.
word. That record.
Yeah.
Waymaker.
Yeah.
Waymaker. And
Yeah.
it was you, a couple friends doing audio,
Mhm.
and I was there as a student, and I was just helping around.
You're like, what reverb is that?
Yeah. I
Is
remember
that the
we
voice?
That's my
that was such a
impersonation.
funny recording. So like
You had a little moment with a friend of yours,
yeah.
and I remember that clearly in my head.
Yeah.
Where his friend came over, and he looked at him and was like, "Hey, the bottom mic is like not right," and Brennan's instant answer was like, "Yes, it is." And he goes, "No, it's
sound
supposed
guy
to be-
arrogance.
It's supposed to be 40 degree angle, and it's not." And I'm watching them too, like going up about it, and I'm like, "Oh,
Was it the bottom snare mic? Or
yeah.
what?
Yeah. There was something, it was off and it just wasn't quite as poppy and I didn't notice it, of course. So I go up and check it and yeah, he was right.
But it sounded incredible. Honestly,
It was a
I
fun
remember
night.
it sounded really good in the room.
It was the first time Kyle Lee's was the producer for that record. And
Shout out Kyle.
Kyle,
Hello.
if you ever listen to this, I love you. But he told me to like, hey man, I just need the snare to be less snappy. Like I don't want a lot of snap. I was like, why do you want the snare to sound less good?
That's
It's
funny
like,
that he
and he's
said
like,
that.
he's like, no, I just don't. I hate dealing with it in the audience mics.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
he's
And I was
thinking,
like,
in
and I was
post.
like,
Yeah.
That's
I'm
a
like,
hot topic, though.
like, wow, that's such a crazy thought. Like,
yeah,
so after he said that, I started thinking about like when I'm mixing for a recording, what are the things you want to hear
Right. It's
because you
fine.
always
in
have
the
to.
room?
Mm.
So like, just in general, you're recording, you want to capture the audience and the audience's engagement with what's happening on the
Right.
stage. So 2 things need to happen, right? You need to have a really good mix, just a great musical balance to be able to communicate well, and you need to be able to ride your dynamics like your master fader
Right.
up and down. So when the band is quiet, you pull the
Yeah.
master down so you can let the audience sing and you don't have slightly out of tune vocals,
Right.
Yeah.
Smart man.
you know?
Well, drums is also a hot topic for live recordings. You guys have been a part of a lot of recordings,
Yeah.
and whatever you played that night usually is what makes
It stays. Yeah.
is what makes the record. So the drums and the audience
Yeah.
is basically what you're going for when you're
Mhm.
mixing for the house, right?
Well,
And that plays into audio, but also into
Yeah.
who's playing drums.
yeah, the source has to be amazing.
It's definitely a lot of pressure because
You have
usually
one
you and
shot.
I are the ones who like have to like whatever we play stays because of the audience mics.
Yeah, I've
Like, you
never
have to
I've
keep it.
never been a part of a recording where after they're like, "Hey, let's re-record
Yeah,
that."
same.
I
Mhm.
didn't even know that was
Yeah.
a thing. I've never.
Well, I mean, we
But
would
you-
just
the
start
way-
the song over.
The
if
way
it-
we do it
yeah.
though
Yeah.
at the church at Upper Room is very different than like we're not like one night worship recording. Boom, that's not what
Yeah.
we're doing. We're kind of like capturing Sunday mornings and Sunday nights,
Right.
like
We
the
do
normal
things
worship
very
sets.
different, yeah.
So it's like not like the
I
blinking
have
red light
a
pressure.
very low pressure.
Yeah.
I have high pressure, but not like a whole night pressure.
Yeah, we do it way different. I mean, you've been a part of
Mhm.
our last Spanish album, and we do like a specific night where it's like, all right, everything's recorded.
That
That's
would
more like
be-
the
night.
classical way
Yeah.
of
Like,
doing
I mean, the end of
Top
year
to
was like
bottom.
that for you.
End of year was a little, well,
You kind of knew it.
kind of / no. We have like songs. We don't have like
Yeah.
multiple songs. So like the last
Mhm.
night, we recorded a song for Abby, and that one I
went
was
off,
like,
bro. It was so
I was like,
good.
okay, if we go there, because there's always a chance at Upper Room. It's like
Right.
it's on the set list,
Yeah.
and we might get to it, we might not.
The set list is a formality.
Yeah, it's like we
So different.
we might
different,
get to
yeah.
the song. We've worked on it, or we might not.
Yeah.
But that night we did get to it, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, now I really have to like. I'm always in like, how can I think like a producer and sound engineer, but also like worship at the same time. So that's one thing Dilo
Mhm.
taught me. He's like, have these 3 mindsets that you play like think like an audio engineer. Like, how, am I hitting right? Am I hitting consistent? How's my tuning?
Mm-hmm.
Am I just bashing cymbals and it's just
Yeah.
you're not getting any tone out of them?
Mm.
That is one thing you are you are the most consistent person
It's hard.
to hit the snare
It's
I've
been
ever
a
heard.
journey. It's
It's
been
like
such a journey.
It is the same every
And
single
Even
time.
the stuff I noticed with the clips you posted from end of year, you don't ever overplay. Like, you're always the way you hit the cymbals, it's like very controlled.
Aw,
And even then, you had 5 toms, bro.
I did.
That's a
Potential for
lot.
disaster.
That is a lot of temptation.
Yeah.
I would have been
It's a
like,
lot of
dude,
temptation.
do-doom.
There's one.
You know, like that would,
we know.
bro, I know. I'm all there.
I don't
haven't
know.
played drums in so long, so it's
I
okay.
haven't seen
I
that many
also, like-
421s in my life.
I know.
There were so many. That's where
At the end of
I'm
the
at
year,
right now.
Rototones.
At the end of the day, I'm like, I'm gonna end up editing these drums. So I'm like, what do I really
Yeah.
want to deal with?
If you
Right.
edit the
In
drums,
post,
oh,
I'm like,
man.
what do I
That's the
really
That's
real
want to
funny
deal
because
with?
I noticed that when I started to mix the Spanish EP, I was like, on one song, there's only one roto track. I know
Yeah.
that there was at least 3 other tracks. Mike's.
No, I actually
Like-
kept it. I left it exactly as much as I
There-
was just like,
It was like a whole empty track and one hit at the end.
yeah, it was like just one.
He's like, dung.
Yeah, but
Oh,
there's
there it
this
is.
one
That's
song
nice.
that I did edit. That one took me forever because I was like, my God. I was like, why did I do this?
But in the moment, you're not
Yeah.
thinking.
But in the moment,
yeah,
I'm like,
I'm gonna
yes, this
have to edit
sounds
this
so
later.
sick.
Yeah.
But this is a good question, though. What do you guys think in the moment as you're playing? You start hitting on topics like how consistent am I hitting the snare? How loud am I hitting the cymbals?
Well,
What are some other things that you
yeah.
think?
I mean, in regards to tone, I'm aware of tone. I'm not really thinking about it, if that
Mhm.
makes any sense.
Mhm.
Like, I'm aware that how I'm hitting, but I'm not constantly like, I need to hit right. Because then I get in my head. Honestly, most of the time I'm just focused on what they're singing and what they're saying
And how to like
Mhm.
support
and
that.
how to support that
Yeah.
and how to
Yeah.
get out of the way of that.
Yeah.
I don't want to stay
Yeah.
in the way of like what they're singing. I don't want to try to do a cool fill. I try to put my fills in between their words.
It's not
Actually,
the same.
I try
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
my kick pattern to like match and support what they're saying.
Mm.
If they're down, I try to support with my sim. If they say something good and I'm not playing, then if I hear something, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's life on that. I'll come in with cymbals.
Mm.
That's cool.
That's the way I approach it. I don't know how you would approach it, but
Yeah, we do. I mean, it's cool that we're touching on the different approach. I mean, we do a lot more rehearsing, and a lot of that stuff happens. I mean, if we do pre-pro Brandon space, it happens in here. So focusing on the lyrics and the melodies, that's a big one for me as a drummer. When I'm writing parts, I'm really thinking about what the melody is doing, especially the rhythm of it. So, but yeah, I mean, we do a lot of flowing too. So like in those moments, staying out of the way and not doing anything too flashy.
Yeah.
Supporting the moment. I mean, yeah.
And I gotta say this about you: you are one of the most intentional drummers I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, thanks.
And I
yeah,
remember
do try to just keep it like something
We were doing this record last year,
intentional.
and we had this conversation, and I was blown away by just the words you used. You were like, "Yeah, man, I think when when we do a recording, I just turn on recording mode, and
Yeah.
I'll be locked in. It'll be good." And I'm like, "Dang, bro, you just know that these are the
That's
things.
so funny that
Bro,
you say that.
Like you
I
just,
feel
I was blown away because like, dude, I played on some CF&I records. They
Yeah.
were like, I kind of know what I'm gonna end up doing. Like, you know,
That's so good that you say that.
and you were just like, I am intentional. I have specifically written every single hit
Yeah.
for this
Right.
song. It's so, and I remember like just listening, and it's every take is the same. Like
right.
there's a couple like things you might be working on or whatever, but like every take has the same vibe.
I feel you. I like that you say that because there is a switch, and I don't know if that is for everyone, but
Yeah,
there is a switch in
There
my
is.
mind. Like there's a switch of like I don't know what I'm about to play, and this is just flow,
Mm-hmm.
and then okay, we're going to Abby's song.
Yeah.
I know what I'm about to play,
Yeah.
and that's the
Right.
switch. I'm like, I know that instantly. You just know that like I remembered every single thing that I want to hear, so that way in post, I'm like
right.
happy with the take. I'm like excited. All the synths and all the stuff that because we do it very, maybe you guys do it the same, but we'll work in the studio and like we'll layer everything. We'll like create percs. We'll
Yeah.
synth bass, guitars, and I want that stuff to shine because I get
Yeah.
excited hearing it. It's
Sure.
inspiring. So
Mhm.
that's so cool that you said that.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the purpose behind that is to serve the song, like you said before,
Yeah.
turning on that switch and being like, I want to play specific parts, and you go into recording mode, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like watching the way that you in the band work, you and Phelps and Josiah and
Yeah.
everyone else work together, and Bryce. And I mean, Bryce did the last one because
Yeah, he
Josiah
did
was
the
getting
last.
married.
Josiah was getting married.
Oh yeah, it's a good reason to miss
He's
a
married.
recording.
He's still married.
He's still married.
That's good.
Anyway, we. I was like an awkward pause. I didn't know how to. Oh yeah. Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
But like it's super cool to like y'all are like super band vibes, and I think that with you and your cousins, it's way more like we're all producers in this, and y'all are like we want to have the most intentional pieces.
Right.
So it's cool to watch the differences and how
and both work.
yeah, and they're like there's obviously they both work.
Yeah.
Like
well,
it's
that's what I was gonna ask. Like, how does it work at Gateway or with all the settings that you're in? Like, do you have a producer, a single guy?
That's the
Like,
thing.
hey,
Yeah.
I hear this.
We normally have like for the last 5 or 6 years, we've had like one guy that we
Mhm.
bring in,
Mm.
and he's basically in charge of getting the project from start to finish. So he's trusting us while we're like trusting him at the same time.
That's cool.
And we're trying to give him everything he needs. So he gives us freedom because now we have a relationship built up over the years where he's
For
like,
sure.
I know that, you know, wherever they go, it's going to be good. But we
You've
try
built
to
that
also,
trust.
Yeah, we built the trust,
Yeah.
but we also want to give him exactly what he's looking for. So there's kind of like a lot of back and forth in the pre-production. We do a lot of pre-production.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always stay that way. We still like go off the maps kind of like you guys probably do. And we kind of see how the moment feels with all the people in the room. And, you know, when they're worshiping, it's going to be different. But
Yeah.
I think it's mainly just trying to give our approach is giving the producer everything that they need. So almost giving him too much. So if he needs to cut it, like it's not a big deal.
That's so cool. Because
That's the mentality. You'd rather have it and not need
right,
it
exactly.
than need it and not have it.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's.
I love that.
I mean, I've seen him perform like surgery on
Mhm.
specific tracks, but it was because he had enough to go off of. Like the track was super long, so he had a lot to work with. But
I
anyways,
remember last time you did pre-pro here, there was one night y'all were here like till 1 a.m.
yeah,
It was really late, and I remember there was some surgery happening. You know,
yeah.
Yep.
Kyle's amazing at that.
he is really good.
He's really good at editing up.
He's super good
songs.
at like the way he communicates
Yeah.
specific things, or like no, that's not it. He thinks about it, and it's just very like
He sees things that like
Yeah.
I could never
100%.
see. That's
Yeah.
why he's producing it.
yeah, exactly.
But
Now,
Anyway,
how different is a relationship from producer to musician versus a sound engineer to musician
is that for me?
for everybody? I mean, you guys play.
you've been doing the sound part.
You guys
so-
play on
True.
Sunday. You guys we'll mix on Sunday
Well,
sometimes.
okay, I could kind of answer that question because I feel like I have the best of both worlds. So Oscar's like at Upper Room. He's my cousin, and he's kind of like the head lead producer at Upper Room. Me, Julian, and Gabe, we like tag along and help. Obviously musically, editing wise, post production world, pre-production world. But then also Brandon, I feel like me and Brandon have built a very, very healthy relationship when it comes to communication. And hey, I genuinely I trust Brandon with the way my drums sound. I don't. If he tells me to tune low, I tune low. If he tells me to tune high, I tune high. If he tells me to play backwards, I play backwards, because I will do whatever this man says. And
that's kind of
good.
Yeah, and I think it's
him
important.
what he needs,
and that helps me / Oscar / Julian. It helps me in that world when I get to post, because then I'm not dealing with poorly recorded audio.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with high, good quality audio. Brandon's happy when he gets the files back and he's mixing it. We're happy because we sent him something good and we're excited about it.
Yeah.
And I think that relationship, it's like you have to all run together.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be like
This
this
kind of goes
team
back
versus that team.
Yeah, it's
versus
like
the musicians.
our relationship enable, like the fact that I'm like, hey man, I think it's a little high or whatever. Some certain snare drums don't sound. They don't, like, the resonance just doesn't like communicate, doesn't translate in
it
those
changes
sorts of drum
completely
cages.
when it's over there.
And so because of that, like, you have to. I have to say, hey man, I think you should drop it down, just like quarter turn or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever room
we
I'm
still,
in.
but we still need it, because I mean, upper room is like 280 seats, like
300.
300.
Yeah, 300.
And if you didn't have a cage in there,
I
and
would
you were,
kill people.
Yeah.
that would be.
We used to have
So there's
the old.
both world.
I kind of miss that.
I know. They,
especially because you guys keep so much of the live vocal. You need
Everything.
An
We keep
audience. I
everything.
mean, the
Yeah,
audience.
an
includes-
audience.
At upper room,
Yeah.
audience mics are everything. If you
Yeah.
don't capture
Yeah.
that room, it's like you might as well done it in the studio.
shout out to Waves Tune.
Why do you say that?
Waves Tune is
Explain.
awesome.
No, just I mean,
Explain
because it's
everybody.
such a small
Are you
room.
not using
Waves
Melodyne?
Tune is like, no, it is. What I'm saying is,
Are you
like,
adding yourself?
for the for the live vocal, like, you need to tune your vocals live, especially for a recording environment, especially in a small room when there's not a lot of space. When no matter what comes out of the PA, it's gonna go into the mics and the audience mics, and then it almost always, not always, eliminates that weird dissonance when you're in post and you're like tuning the vocal. That vocal is gonna be real close because you tuned it live as well.
Yeah.
So you don't have like a slightly flat or sharp vocal, which creates a weird, like, dissonance thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all that to go back to the conversation of like the relationship. I feel like it's all a partnership. It shouldn't be this team versus that team versus this. It's like, in many cases, I've seen how it's like the sound engineer is kind of having to battle with the musicians.
Yeah.
Because they like their tone, but they're over here saying, hey,
Right.
your tone isn't really good, but they're communicating
The
in a
wrong
very
way,
mean
or-
way.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then the producer's like, guys, what are y'all doing? Get on the same
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
And it's just, but if you guys just work in unity, it's just everybody wins, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Actually, how have you built that trust? I guess I'll ask Brandon this first, because obviously, like, one person might think they know more than the other person. So what's a good way to build that trust especially if you're like a drummer and a audio engineer? How do you
from the
build-
sound guy's perspective?
Yeah, from your perspective, how do you build that trust to where it's like, okay, like, I want them to be happy, but I also know what's probably what's best, most likely.
Well, first thing, like, this is the most important thing. You need to let the musician, in this case the drummer, know that you care about them. Like, I care
That's
that
big.
you sound good.
Yeah.
It matters to me that you sound good, and so that they know that. We talked about this in a previous episode, but it's important that they know you're on the same team, because a lot of times sound guys are just a little, like, standoffish or whatever, like arrogant. And
I've had sound guys.
you know what I'm saying?
Bro,
Everyone
I'm not even
knows.
gonna tell the
Everyone's
story.
known the guy named,
so mad.
like, with a long, like,
Getting
ponytail,
green over here.
kind of
Oh,
balding.
God.
Like, that's like mid-50s. Doesn't, like, has a lot of attitude. He did.
And the stuff still doesn't sound
Yeah,
good.
he did.
I worked on Earth, Wind, and Fire 25 years ago.
Exactly. He worked in the studio with Lionel Richie back in the day.
Yeah.
But that's important. They need to know you're on the same team.
Yeah.
That's so important.
That's good.
Secondly, you need, as a sound guy, as the audio engineer, need to be prepared for it to not be the greatest, and let that be okay.
That's big.
Because you can't sacrifice the relationship and choose to die on every little battle. You got to pick your battles, right? That's the thing.
Because everything will suffer.
Because you have to also know that, like, if I steward this relationship well, they will eventually start listening to me, and it will
that's
eventually
true.
sound better. Versus if I put a wall up and
That's good.
draw a
Yeah.
line in the sand right now, you're gonna, like, see, like, this guy's really mean, or this guy's a jerk, or whatever. And that's important. that's just like being aware of relational dynamics. It's like 101, you know.
Which it comes on the way you talk, with the
Your
way you
tone.
talk, your
Yeah,
tone,
the approach.
your, you know, if you're going to get coffee with the guys and just hanging out, talking
Mhm.
about life, talking about things that it's not really what you're doing, but you still involved in people's lives. I think that's huge. You said something that made me think trust. I think that's the word.
Yeah.
You know, having the mutual trust where
Yeah.
I trust you, you trust me. It was funny to see you guys. We're all recording here today I mean, it's been a long day already. Since 9 a.m. we've been recording. It's at night already. But throughout the whole day, everybody was picking off each other. Everybody was asking, like, hey, what do you guys think? What do you feel? And sometimes you don't feel the same thing, but you're always open to hear the perspective.
Yeah.
Because what are you guys fighting
I
for?
was telling Ish, I
is
was
for
like,
the-
bro, let's turn off the snares. Like, I don't know. I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, bro, let's do it. He's like, okay.
Yeah,
And then he got inspired doing
But it was
something,
worth
and
it.
I was like, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
It's
sounds
just-
so sick.
It all
Yeah.
comes back to that trust, like you said.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna make it better for everybody. You're gonna,
Mhm.
and you're probably also gonna get a result you didn't even know you could
Yeah.
get.
And that's the power of collabing.
Right, exactly.
Right.
The
That's
power
the
of
whole point
2
of
or power of 3 is better than the power
Right.
of 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say too, one thing that, I mean, talking about like how to build that trust, and with a sound engineer, one thing that I found comfort in when I met like a good audio engineer like Brandon is like his work ethic.
That's
It's
massive.
a bit like, it's easier for me to be like, oh my gosh, let me listen to this guy if it actually sounds good and I see him put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so easy to be like, I trust you.
Yep.
Because like the issue is like you'll have guys just telling you what to do in a rude way, and it's like not necessarily. It's like, why does it still sound weird? Why are we like?
Sure.
It doesn't
Like the
sound
results
cool.
don't back up
Yeah,
what
the
they're
results
saying.
don't back
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
But when
which
you
is big part of it,
but when you find a
Mhm.
sound guy who it's like, wow, this mix sounds amazing. Like
Mhm.
I get excited when we did the Spanish album.
Yeah.
The first Spanish album for Upper Room, and we rented out that whole console,
Yeah.
and you recorded the whole thing, and you're like, this is what you guys sound like. I was like,
Virtual sound check later.
this is so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
get
we're all
inspired and
pumped.
all
Like
that.
Lucas comes in, Marcos comes in, and they're
Mhm.
all like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I think that the work ethic that a sound engineer puts, and like the value, the time, the what plugin, how do I do this? How do I make the snare sound like this? How do I make the vocal sound like it? All matters.
Yeah.
Like, and when I see that, I'm like, I trust you. Like
Oh,
we're
sure.
to the point when we're producing a record, me and my cousins, it's like, bro, who are we gonna get to capture this? It's like, Brandon. Like, of course.
because it always sounds
Yeah,
good.
it's just
Yeah.
Mm.
That's
Well, that's
cool.
very kind. Honestly, it's kind of a lesson, because like there's never the most dangerous place to be is when you're like at the top of your game, because then there's no one to look up to. You know what I'm saying?
And you feel like you're right.
And like
yeah.
exactly. And
Can't arrive.
there's this
Yeah.
this mentality of always be learning, always be improving, always be growing. That's so important.
yeah, and that's so good.
Yeah.
So,
So Lucas, you were at Shoreline Church in Dallas as well.
Shoreline. Yep.
Shoreline City
We
Church.
finally got to Lucas. It took us this long.
Yeah, sorry.
Just
Like
kidding.
28 minutes in.
I was born in
42
in
42.
1996.
If anyone's still
Yeah.
watching this,
Yeah.
applaud you.
No, for real though. So you are like MD, production director, all of the things.
Right now. Yeah.
Yeah, right now. You wear a
Working
lot
on
of
it.
hats. You wear a lot of hats.
Yep.
So how has your relationship with the band? Because I know you play.
Yeah.
You're like the MD.
That makes it a lot easier though.
Yeah.
Because I'm on stage with the guys, but I'm also behind the console
Mhm.
a lot of times. So as I'm playing, I'm helping everybody come on this path, and everybody, you know, we grow together and we talk together, and
Yeah.
we have a relationship. I know everything that's going on in your life. You know everything that's going on in my life. When I'm behind there, I'm still. It's almost like if I was with them.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of. It's funny because a lot of times they will ask me, and I'm not even thinking about it, and they'll just come like, "Hey, how does this sound?" I was like, honestly, I wasn't even paying attention on that. But it's funny because they took the initiative to like come and ask,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, even if it's like already amazing,
Yeah.
it's like that's so special
That's a culture of
Um,
growth. Yeah.
because it really helps
shows that they
the
care.
result and everything. Yeah,
Shows that they care at the end of the day.
yeah.
It's cool.
So it's been a fun journey. The guys are amazing at Shoreline. I mean, all the musicians, not just amazing musicians, but just people, you know,
Mhm.
real people that love Jesus,
Yeah.
That's
that
cool.
they love what they do. We usually say we pray in the morning, every morning at like 7 a.m. on Sundays when we play, and we talk about how we're doing what we love to the one we love the most. It's almost like a perfect combination
Mhm.
of things, you know. It's like I have so much fun doing this, and I'm doing this for like the person that I love the most, and with my friends.
Right.
Mm.
It's like, man, this is so special.
That's cool.
It's
That's
like it's
cool.
such a fun place to be. And the same thing, I mean, when we travel, when we're doing things too,
Mhm.
and it's like, this is the guy that comes to my house when I'm like having barbecue, and now we're in a work environment, but it's like it's so easy to work with
Yeah.
because we speak the same language. One look, one text, it's like, oh, I know exactly what you mean. I know your heart. It just takes time to get there, but when you
Mhm.
get there,
Yeah.
it like, man, it feels like you're growing like 5 years in one.
That's a massive part of it. Even today, I thought about this. I was like, it's so easy to work with these guys because I love all of you and we're like friends. So I was like tracking with you guys. We're just laughing and I know there's no pressure and that makes a big difference in like the end result because
For
you're
sure.
not really worried about, oh, what are they thinking of me? Or you can rest in the fact that these are your friends and like they're confident in your ability. And I love that.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that. and
Yeah.
That's special.
That's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
And I'm super proud of you, bro. Like you have like just in the last 4 or 5 years that I've known you, like just watching you lead and grow that team. Shoreline is a machine. They are
Oh, yeah.
everyone is like 100% plugged in, 100% willing, and Lucas is the greatest like cheerleader leader. Like you lead by example, and
That's
you
a big
also
part of
cheer
it.
everyone on, and it's super cool to watch that because like I'm not necessarily that way. Like I'm very encouraging, but I'm not like over the top, and you like really leave zero room for doubt in
Well,
people's
he's
mind
Brazilian. What do you
how
expect?
you feel about
Over the
a
top.
person.
Neymar.
And well, we're not gonna talk about the World Cup. No.
Not Neymar
But,
right
like,
now.
But yeah, right.
He's in the bad season.
But
Argentina.
I'm so proud.
Messi.
Oh, dude, I'm
Sorry.
so proud of you, man. Like this
Thanks
guy
for saying that.
you're so genuine, you're so real on every level, and it's awesome to watch your success.
Yeah.
You know,
I appreciate it.
and the recognition that you've received in the last year, like stewarding the building and all that stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Which is honestly, this is just learning from people and like you just replicate the stuff that went well with everybody in the US.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, you did that well. So I'm gonna take that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna,
Yeah.
so
But
it's just
that's-
being surrounded by
But
good
it takes
people. That's
humility to
all it
learn
is.
that. It takes humility to be able to look at someone else's right deeds
Yeah.
and take that on yourself and
Yeah.
do the same thing.
You guys are all like that. I see Sebas a lot of times after service or I don't know if we're playing somewhere in a city and someone comes to talk to Sebas after he plays. He always like prays for the person, you know?
Yeah.
Like
That's special.
they all come like, hey,
I love
Sebas, can I take a picture or like I don't know last time someone asked for you for an autograph or something, but
I
you
understand.
always
It's probably 5 days
ended
ago.
I
up.
feel like someone always asks for a drumstick.
Yeah.
But he always ended up praying for the guy. And if Michaela's around, she always look at you and be like, he's always like that. It's always been like that.
Yeah.
My wife
And it's
is
like
so
a-
amazing.
It's a core, you
Our
know?
wives is
Amazing.
too. All of
Thank
our
you for
wives.
saying that.
We're all
Yeah.
married.
It's
Our
true.
wives are amazing.
They are.
Shout out wives.
They have, she like when I'm doing stuff like that, she'll always like be in the back, like packing up my stuff, and like she
Mm.
knows how to.
That's so sweet.
so little, like such little things. Like I know how to place your snare. I know where your cymbals go. This is
And
your
she
ride.
knows.
And she
The
knows.
ultimate roadie.
No, she.
That's amazing.
No, but
Honestly.
like
No,
I
but
don't
she
know.
knows,
so
though.
cool.
I don't know if Lori
She
knows. how to do
knows,
that.
no.
She was talking about P4, P3
No, she
snare
was
heads.
she's like,
Power
and I was
stroke.
like,
what is that? The Power
whoa,
Stroke
whoa,
3,
whoa.
Power. What sticks? I was like, she knows where all my stuff goes. She knows
That's
where I like.
amazing.
not
my
that a girl
in-ears.
can know
Yeah.
that. Let me point that
no,
out.
that's no.
It's,
but
it's just that it was interesting
that
that like
things like you
in
like,
a marriage, like she's
not-
interested.
Not
Interested.
A normal person is gonna know.
It's
what-
cool because she took an interest because of you.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's
right.
why
That's
she
the
knows.
point,
She
yeah.
knows because it matters to you.
That's the point. Yeah.
And that's
Right.
love. She's
She cares
showing
about
that
it.
she loves
The other
you.
day she was being funny and she goes, "The only reason I learned this is to get you out of places faster." So, you know, I was like,
That
"Wow."
is so real.
I'm like,
that makes
oh
a
my
ton of
gosh.
sense though.
Not selfish at all.
Just
That's
kidding.
just practical
She was
when you have
literally just
kids.
being funny, but
Should we tap into snare tuning?
Oh.
It's a hot topic. What season is this? Because I feel like
I think
there's
he's trying to
seasons,
think-
you know?
He's
Seasons of snare tuning.
Yeah. Seasons where people like a deep snare, then seasons where people get rid of it, and they go
I
medium,
think the season
medium
right
high.
now has been like kind of like crack snare. I feel like people are kind of done with the
Thud.
the thud.
Gush.
That's
I
a
don't know,
fart.
but yeah,
I don't know. Okay, you want to know my?
That was perfect.
You can tell there's 4 dudes right now because fart noises. are
well,
about
you okay? What are you doing?
Okay, this is what I'm doing. What does the song need? That's what I think. That's what
Okay.
you should approach it.
Well, that's the best answer you could have given.
Like,
But
okay,
I mean-
and
Next
we're wrapping
question.
this up.
yeah. Okay.
No, I think
Close.
it's so like
How
I
you tune
think
your tones?
no, I really do think like drummers get so like in the thing of like big snare drum and
Yeah.
and they neglect the song.
Thank you, David Whitworth.
No, and David Whitworth like
That
shout
boy
out,
be
bro.
cranking it,
like,
though.
It's true.
I
Nowadays.
actually remember they tuned my snare one time. Bethel, we were doing a thing and they needed to borrow my snare and I was like, here, take it. And they had that thing cranked. So it's they don't like detune. It's not like this.
It's true.
big,
Yeah.
Like it's like a nicely rounded snare.
Mm-hmm.
But people just get into the headspace of like it needs to sound like a bomb is hitting the world, and it's just.
Well,
like,
let's talk
not
about it though.
It's like,
Why do people think like they have to
I think it's just because
tune it super low
Well, I
to
think
get
it's
a
because
beefy sound?
I think it's because they hear the final product.
Yeah.
They hear the record.
Correct.
Yeah.
And what is the
they-
final product though?
I mean,
What's a combination of a big snare that's not a
so which one? What song did we just? One of the ones we did on Sunday night that I mixed. I think it was Brett's song,
I don't know.
Where You Stand.
Yeah.
You didn't. You used your 5.5 on that snare, or the 5.5 inch snare on that
No.
song.
I didn't, or I did. I don't.
I think you did
remember what I
because I remember saying like, "Man, this thing sounds ridiculous."
Oh,
like,
I did
the
use
night-
my 5.5.
I came up to you. I was like, "Dude, this is insane."
So that's the thing. This
Yeah.
album that we've been doing, I've been like so inconsistent on what snares, what mics.
yeah,
Like
I
I'll
know.
be like, oh, you know what? I just want to kind of. I literally would just
Yeah.
think I want to play the snare today, and then I'll show up and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, we're tracking today.
yeah,
But I did use that, and it sounded great. Like
Sounded
it
awesome.
sounds so good, and I
Yeah.
don't. But yeah, I think they just get in that mentality of it needs to sound like this all the time, and
hmm
but then you listen to like Japanese house and that you listen to their live album and the drums are so far back in the mix
yeah,
and it sounds amazing and it sounds like what it needs to sound like for that
Mhm.
album.
yeah.
Right.
And I think if I don't know why we get in the headspace of it always needs to sound like this big gunshot. I don't think it does. I think
That's
you
cool.
can try different things.
Don't
Like,
you know the Holy Spirit's in the gunshot?
Yeah.
There it is.
But like for Abby's song that we did at
Mhm.
end of year, like I was using my big snare, but all the drum parts were full. Like I was playing side stick
Mm-hmm.
for
Half the
90%
song.
of the song,
Yeah.
and then eventually we got to where we got to. But
Mhm.
had I not thought that way, and my cousin Gabe always like has a better thought in regards to drums. He's like,
Mhm.
oh, why don't you try this? And I always listen to him because it works, and he's so
Yeah.
good at it. But I don't know why we get like that. I don't.
Like it has.
I
to
think-
Because
be,
we know
"Oh,
we know
that
what
snare."
works, and we know what worked one time can work again.
Yeah.
And
Um,
that's not to say that it's like
yeah.
don't do it again. Like
Mhm.
if that's what the song calls for, then do it. But
I think
it
a big
doesn't
part
need
of
to
it
be
is like what inspires you as well, because
Yeah.
that's gonna change the way you play. So like right now, tuning the snare up for me is inspiring me so much because it feels better, and
Yeah, a little bit more bounce back. When you hit it.
especially if you like turn the snare wires off, it just
Mhm.
sounds like another
Tom or something,
another
yeah.
tom or like a different instrument,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, this is
That's
sick.
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like I just do what inspires me. Sometimes a low snare inspires me too. So
Yeah.
it just
Oh, heck
depends.
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, same. My high snare, my 5.5 Franklin.
Yeah.
It's like that thing is either it's high or it's like very very low. There's
Mhm.
never an in between
Yeah.
for me.
That's
But
cool.
it's like I always use that as a side snare for our big conference, and
Yeah.
it's fun. And I use it like maybe 3 times, but when I do use it, it's fun.
It's nice.
I think a lot of the ways we approach how we process the bottom snare and the verbs is
I know where you're going
mainly
with this.
is mainly where the big sound is.
Yeah.
And but not a lot of people realize that.
Yeah.
That has a
all
lot
the-
to do with how tight it is, like
Yeah.
the snare wires. I didn't
Mhm.
realize that forever, and I just loosened it up one day, and I was like, oh, there's the sustain
Yeah.
of the drum. It didn't have to be tuned low at all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know probably everyone already knows that, but
It's fairly common knowledge by now.
it took me forever to realize that, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, there it is. Like that's how Bethel or Upper Room
Yeah.
does that sound.
Well, Bethel, I mean, it's David Whitworth's like the 8.5 by 14.
Yeah.
Just
Truth.
a good snare.
Is it 8.5 or 8?
It's
an
the
eight-
the
eight
8
by
by
14 is
8 by
Truth.
14.
It's like a $2,000 snare drum.
Yeah, it's a, but it's. I mean, it's a good snare.
Honestly, those
Yeah.
things
he
are like
plays it, but honestly, he plays so well. Like,
Yeah.
The way he hits it.
The
He
way he
hit-
hits,
like
yeah.
he doesn't choke that drum.
Yep.
And he hits it so well. I remember, I don't know what event we were playing at, and he was playing. I was like, it sounds like on records, like he's like killing it, but
is it Jesus 18
I don't even remember. Yeah, probably.
with Jeremy because he played
And
with Jeremy and stuff
He
that
was
night.
playing, and I was like, dude, he's barely hitting. I say barely, but like he's hitting it rightly. Like,
Yeah.
he's not choking it.
Sure.
He's not
Right in the
smashing it.
center.
It's like just a
Mhm.
good hit every time.
I feel like that's so.
That
If
makes a
you
big difference.
look at like the way he plays specifically, Bethel's Homecoming record, like if you look at the stage, like from the video content from that record, there's no drum cage, and that stage is small.
Right.
Tiny.
Like it's probably 40 feet wide, maybe, and 20 feet, 25 feet deep, maybe more, probably 30 feet deep. I don't know, but it looked very small, and there's no drum cage, but he plays like so in control. Like it's
that's
not
a
like
good
the
word,
cymbals
yeah.
are not doing what they should not be doing. They're not getting in
Right.
all the vocal
It's like
mics.
going to a jazz bar and watching like a drummer play. They're
Yeah.
so controlled.
Oh yeah, for sure. They know the room. They know what they're doing. They know the recording.
That's another
Yeah.
thing is knowing the room,
Yeah.
like knowing what
Yeah.
room you're in.
That's a big part of the
yeah.
snare sound too. Like
Yeah.
the way how hard you're hitting it. Also, like playing off what other mics are in the room, how big the room
Yeah,
is.
I would even say like one thing that I've noticed is like how like playing with a drum cage has hindered me in my
Dude.
normal playing.
Yeah.
To where like
Yes.
now
I hear
go-
you. Yeah.
Now if I'm in a small place, I don't even know how to play drums anymore.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn how to play to a room, and it's like,
Which that plays into your in-ear mix.
yeah, it's like it plays
How
into
good can you
everything.
hear?
Remember when
Yeah.
Joel said, "I want to go to the floor."
Yeah,
So
It's
for
like-
like 3 months, we moved the whole band at Upper Room to the floor in front of the PA,
In the auditorium.
like in
by
the
way.
auditorium.
feedback
No, I
No?
mean, it just
because you're a beast.
no,
That's fine.
it's just you just bring the
Anyone else
volume
listening?
down. Like there's just when you're in front of the PA, you gotta just bring the volume down. But
You know what everybody.
the How He Loves song from one of the Moments records we
Yeah.
did, that was Elissa singing How He Loves from the floor. And I remember getting those files. I was like, dang, I didn't know that's what it was from. But I remember like listening to the audience mics. I'm like, man, there are so much drums in these audience mics. So I did this little trick. I like used Isotope's music rebalance.
Oh yeah.
RX.
And and it'd be like, remove the drums.
Which,
right,
by the way, that thing
digitally.
is like
It's a lifesaver for
I
sure.
don't know how it does
It's-
it. I don't- It's
well,
awesome.
So I just
biblical.
I made a copy of those audience mics and like rendered and like kind of music rebalanced a duplicate version of it and then brought those and mixed them together with the original
Which
audience
that's a
mics.
cool trick though.
And then you can like it basically
That's
soloed
cool.
the vocals, all the vocal sounds in the audience mics, and so it was able to bring out the.
yeah.
I had no idea.
there's
I was
no
totally
rules.
guessing.
I
I
love
was
that.
hoping it would work. I had no idea, truthfully,
And you worked.
but it did work because it like added that. It's like the combined.
Dude,
know.
that's very cool.
It was like so it brought out the vocals basically and helped. So the audience sound from that is like essentially music rebalance.
That's so cool.
But like it sounded great, and I remember seeing the video, and that's why there's so much drums.
Yeah,
You were
but-
like, what?
I
Why
think-
was he out
yeah.
of the?
I think
Yeah.
back to the point, it's like learning how to play in a room is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Like
sure.
if you like we do it Upper Room like randomly, it's like we're on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
and then my mindset shifts as a drummer, and then I revert back to when I was playing aux drums, and I think more that way then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, how can I like make the room like feel the drums and not notice the drums?
Which
And
is
then-
also
and then I
not
say-
just you. It's
Yeah.
the whole band is doing that.
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody has to. It's
Synth
like you all-
bass,
synth
you're playing
bass.
acoustic.
Yep.
It's a
I'm
whole
like
different
playing
vibe.
like different kind of sticks. My cymbals are
Yeah.
different.
So everybody's
Gaff
on the same
tape,
page.
Everything,
Yeah.
it's like the
Gaff
snares
tape.
just do like just
Yeah.
this gushy thing.
I text you. I'm like, hey, SPD, and a shaker. That's what you're getting.
And then I show up
And
with
he shows up
3
with a full
drums.
kit.
I'm like, bro, I'm bringing a snare, I'm bringing a kick,
Brandon's
I'm like,
a
like,
ride,
okay.
and you're like, I said SPD, and I'm like, I know, but you're gonna like it.
SPD stands for snare,
Percussion, drums.
Yeah, exactly.
You end up like it's fun. It's
Bro,
always
it's
fun.
great. It's great. I always try to make my job easier on the front end, but it doesn't
and
help.
it never
never
happens.
Well, it's because it's like, I mean,
just know I'm not the biggest fan of just SPD. It's just you
it's
literally
so
hit
limited.
a wall,
It's so limited.
and you're like, I can't.
just SPD.
Just SPD.
Yeah,
It's
not,
like
not
never
the unit
fun.
itself. Right?
No, the unit like
Yeah.
with textures and like
Yeah.
with other
it's
drums
cool
and
for
like
a while, but
Mhm.
I can vibe with that all night.
808
If I have a
cues.
snare, a kick with like I could do that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
it's always funny when people like ask you to ring it out and all you have is an SPD. You're like, it's just not
Dong.
possible. That happened to me once. The worship leader was like, "Can you ring it out?" I was like, "No, I can't.
I literally can't.
I literally can't." There's no Anyways,
Yeah,
But
that's funny.
but
Honestly, I love you guys. I'm so grateful to be a part of your lives, a part of your family's lives. So grateful to know
we
each
wouldn't
of
be here
you.
without you.
And I can't wait till you have kids, because we all have kids.
coming.
here.
A couple years.
I'm yeah.
He just said in 5 years it's
Yeah.
coming.
Well,
Oh,
I'm so
yeah, I
honestly
think
it makes me happy that y'all were willing to come and sit down and
Dude.
talk and stuff. And
Yeah, dude. Thanks for
and
having us.
I love you. I love you all. I love you all. Like there's more than 3 of you here, but Thank you.
I love you.
We
Love
could
you
have talked
guys.
about so much more, but I feel like we do have to end it.
it's true.
Yeah, it's been a
I
while
know.
already.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But,
Maybe we'll do a part 2 or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe. I'm
Honestly,
down.
this is fun.
Yeah.
It's way fun to talk.